today we have some very special guests. We have Panchiko here, most notably known for their album Death Metal, which came out in the year 2000. How are you guys doing today?
I'm
Pretty
doing
good,
all
thanks.
right.
Yeah.
I'm glad
End
to
of the
have you guys
day.
on the show.
Well, thank you for having
Cool.
us.
Of course. Alrighty. So to start off, I mean, you guys released your first single in a very long time, or at least single for an album, I should say. I know there's some new music coming up around the way. It's been 20 years. What have you guys been doing in those 20 years of absence?
Just life. For me personally. Um, yeah. Just having a normal job, and a family, and just just the usual, just very average life, really. Um, for me. What have you been doing, Owen?
I don't know, all the usual stuff you do. You go to school, college, university, worked in a comic shop, made music, did some VJing for a while, amongst other things. Yeah. Played beats in bars, and yeah, had a normal job for like the last 10 years, or so. Mm.
So the band was formed in the late 90s. And I know I've done a little bit of research. You guys were all childhood friends, is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, me and Andy have known each other since we were about five. Um, and went through sort of primary school and junior school together. And then we met Owen at secondary school, or I guess that'd be your guys' high school, when we'd have been about, I don't know, about 11 or 12, something like that, I guess. About 11, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't know you as a child, Sean.
no, no, not as a small child.
You
You
as
missed
a
out.
teenager. Missed out on yeah, cool.
Yeah.
On the greatest hits. I missed out on the greatest hits.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's got the dregs now. Um,
Yeah. Like secondary school or like middle school level or whatever. Something like that.
So
Yeah. So early teens, like 11, 12. Yeah.
and that's when death metal was being made. That's like your guys' age group. You guys were in middle school.
Well, no, we were older. We were like at the
Okay.
stage where we're in, like, I was in something called sixth form. Sean, you were making guitars, weren't you, or
yeah,
something?
I was at
Yeah.
college training to be a guitar maker. Yeah,
You
at
made a
that point.
lovely guitar.
Yeah, so we'd been about 16, 17, wouldn't we, I guess?
Yeah. 16, 17. And death metal's more like, I swear I remember that's between, I don't know, yeah, 16 and 18 or something. Bits and bobs during that time.
So
Uh,
did you guys like imagine what was gonna come from that? I mean, it's been 20 years. It was growing. It was brewing, I guess you could say, for about 15 before it really started to gain traction and like popularity in um like the modern era. But you had a big cult following underneath, and I know someone reached out to, I believe it was Sean in 2018 on Facebook, just asking about
That
the
was Owen,
band in
actually.
general. It was
It
who?
was Owen they reached out to, actually.
yeah. No,
Um,
it's 2020 when it happened, just a month before COVID, and someone randomly messaged me on Facebook, and I was like, oh, okay, this is weird. Were you in this band, Panchiko? And I was like, how would anybody know about that band? We never put it on the internet. So I was curious, but I also thought, should I answer this or not? And it seems a bit random. So it took a little while, and then I decided to answer it, which was probably a good thing in the long run. But at first I was like, wow, that's weird. How do they know about this? So first two messages, I was like, yeah, how do you know that name? And then they were like, oh, you obviously know something. And I'm like, maybe. Um, and then spoke to them a little bit more and said, why are you asking about that band? And they went, oh, well, it's been found on the internet, and there's there's a bit of a following of it. And I went, oh, really? Okay, cool. Which surprised me, really surprised me. I thought, why? Why is that? Mainly.
So just talking about that following, being around that following, I've been a fan since about 2020, I would say. So right about that time. Um, it's a lot of teenagers, or at least that I know of, teenagers or young adults that are in the following, but they've gained a strong emotional attachment to the music itself. Does that alter the way you guys make or making your upcoming album, or are you guys just making it like how you guys were in your mind back then, back in the time of death metal?
It's an interesting question. Like, it's amazing feeling like that. That's what's bonkers about it. Like lyrics I wrote when I was 18, I don't know, like 17 to 19, whatever it was. And lyrics like I wrote back then in a different time, like a time when the internet was just a bit boring. Well, it kind of, I don't know, it wasn't as big as it was, and it wasn't as central to our lives and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that it, oh, shouldn't leave notifications on. Or the sound of notifications on. So yeah, it was bonkers. So it's really special and really interesting that like it resonates like years later. So some of the stuff I was saying back then was it resonates with people now. So I guess there's a few things that might be timeless or like a rite of passage or like what people go through. But as for the new stuff, there's an element of like it's got elements of what it is, but I can't really make it exactly the same as back then because I'm not the same person really. So there's elements of it. So you wait and see like what you think of it later on. But then some of it is some of the songs like we've done are remakes or they're finished versions of things that never got finished in the first place. So they still have the lyrics from back then. So it's a bit of a transitionary album in that it's got a few new things on it and a lot of old numbers on it that have been like fully done now, fully expanded or whatever. So yeah. But it's an amazing thing that it resonates with people. That's mad. It's cool. Really like it.
So are you guys looking to make it a long-term thing? Are you guys looking to bring the band back together, keep it a thing for as long as it can go?
It'd be very
Yeah,
nice. What do you think,
yeah.
Sean?
I mean, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it? I mean, we've been gifted this fantastic opportunity, which none of us ever thought we'd have. Um, and I guess a second chance, if you will. I mean, I don't know if we ever really had the first chance, but I mean, we've got yeah, it would be foolish to waste the opportunity, and it'd be nice just to keep it going as long as it organically goes. Um, I mean, it may all end in a flash tomorrow. We don't know, but
Yeah.
we can enjoy it whilst it's happening,
Mm.
and be grateful for it.
Yeah, like what I like about it is we've played a couple of shows recently in America in October, and it's just amazing. Like when you make people happy with your music, especially when the music isn't necessarily that happy. But I'm sort of in the camp of like I like things that are emotional and sad and stuff like that because I think when you feel that, like it's a part of being alive. It's a part of making things good. I don't know if you know the other side of it or whatever, but it's an amazing thing to make people happy, and I don't do that as much in my normal job. So
Me either.
if you get an opportunity to do something you love and you enjoy, it's hard work. It's still hard work to do anything decent. And you never know it's decent, and you never think it's good enough or whatever, really. But if you make something solid and it's maybe authentic to an extent, then it's gonna stand the test of time and be good. So yeah, I'd love it, and yeah, exactly like Sean says, like you don't want to waste an opportunity to do something that's a really interesting thing to do in the long run, and it'd be nice to do it full time. And um, as long as people want to come see us, and if they, we can make them happy and they can enjoy it, then that's an honor to do that. Really, and it's an awesome thing to do.
I know you just touched on your American tour or your US tour that you guys were just on previously back in October. I was at one of those shows. I was at the Philly show. It was a great show. It was my 18th birthday. Sean gave me a
Oh.
pin from his bass, and that was amazing. I'm not sure if you
Oh, it
remember
was
that.
you.
That was
Do
me.
you
Yeah,
know?
I don't have
Do,
my bass with me right now. It's at college. I'm
Yeah,
back home on spring break. But yeah, that was me. I thought that was so fun. But how was your first US tour, and what are some cities you're looking to come back to as you start your next tour in the US?
it was amazing. Yeah, I mean, what an incredible experience. Um, and yeah, what an incredible thing to be gifted to be able to have that experience. Yeah, I've never been to America before. Um, and then to get to see so much of it all crammed into a very short time was great. And everybody was so friendly and so welcoming to us. It was just yeah, it was an amazing experience, and yeah, I can't wait to do it again. Hopefully, we'll be able to make some more people happy and meet some more great people out there. So yeah, it was amazing, really, really, really good.
yeah. Like Sean said, it was a blast. Like Philly was a really notable show. Philadelphia, sorry, I'm
Yeah,
trying to be
it
too
was.
cool here and say Philly, and that doesn't make me cool. But yeah, for like that venue is cool. Like the Unitarian Church. I didn't know much about its history, but when we looked it up, it's amazing. Like so many people who've gone on to be massive still go back there and play there, and it was just such a cool vibe because it's got the kind of vibe to what we used to play gigs at years ago.
It
It
was like a youth
was
club gig, wasn't
we
it?
used
It's
to play
amazing.
in places called village halls. So they're like community halls in little villages in England. And there's a sense of they're not really a venue where but you can do stuff there. Even though the venue in Philadelphia was a proper venue, it still had that vibe of like, wow, we're in the basement of a church, but then gigs go on here and they're legendary gigs. So that was amazing. So yeah, like Philadelphia was nice walking around Philadelphia. We enjoyed it. Enjoyed a cheesesteak. It was good. We had to do it. We had to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, everywhere we went, people were amazing. I think for me, I really liked going to Seattle. Um, and really like going through Texas as well. And Austin was really nice place to play. And loved our time off in a place called Carborough, where we played a venue called the Cat's Cradle, and that was just a nice little respite because we got to spend 2 days there, and yeah, it was cool. And then New York, Chicago, they were all cool. And we played this cool place in Ohio, which was called Mahal's, which is like a bowling alley, which but it's kind of retro style, and that was really cool. But yeah, like Sean said, like it's just the hospitality of the people who met us who were just so thankful for us coming over and playing, and we're so thankful for them and yourself for buying tickets and supporting us and making it happen. Like we did a bit to make it happen, and you made stuff to make it happen. But that Philly show was amazing. The energy was bonkers. That was one of the liveliest ones. We played a show in Oakland that was also really lively, and that was like
Yeah.
really cool as well.
And
So yeah,
someone on the band made a poor decision to wear an Astros hat when the Phillies were in the World Series against the Astros.
can't
That'd be
speak
like our
for him,
resident
but yeah,
troublemaker.
yeah, 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 yeah. So, um, our tour manager at the time, he's from Texas, so he was explaining. And yeah, I can't speak for Rob. He made that decision of his own accord. He probably chose the hat. I don't know. That's what you do. You go to every show and then you deliberately wear something of that town's opposing team, and then see how that happens. Yeah, yeah. It was an amazing night because it was the World Series, wasn't it? That night, and or part of it wasn't it, or something.
Yeah, it
So
was the
uh, Yeah, it was really interesting being around that. That vibe was really cool. Like just seeing how, because we don't really watch baseball over here. You might watch basketball more. I mean, there's plenty of UK fans who like baseball and American football and stuff, um, but yeah, seeing people enjoy that, it was really cool, and being around the buzz whilst wearing the wrong team's hat. It helps the energy. It creates a tension, and it's all about tension and release. There's no release. Well, there was release when I don't know. Everybody said that guy's wearing an Astros hat. And then
So
yeah,
you guys
yeah.
got a pretty good lineup coming up for your next US tours. You've got Horse Jumper of Love and LSD in the Search for God. That is an amazing lineup. I know a bunch of people in my area that are talking about it, so I can't imagine what it's going to be like in some of the cities, like you said, Seattle, Texas, like some of the big music cities in America. I mean, you guys have got to be excited for that. You guys have to be um so I don't know. I would just be honored that that was set up. That's an opportunity because those are three, like you guys are three legendary bands in the like I don't even know, indie, like new indie age. You guys are like all legendary psychedelic indie, I guess you could say. And I'm excited to go. I'm hoping to make it out for you guys. But with your latest release, Failed at Maths, that was the first glimpse, like I said, in an album for over 20 years. And there's a clear advance in your sound from when death metal was made to this. Um, are you guys gonna go from a more like defined sound, a more reverbed sound, whereas death metal was more like um I don't know, like in death metal rot or in Lapida rot, you have those tracks. They're very raunchy and very hard to the ears, but I find a sense of peace with those songs whereas you have the refined like death metal and Laputa and just the normal ones. But are there going to be raunchy sounds or are they going to be more um like curved and smooth?
I think it's an element of Andy's a producer and he's a mastering engineer and he's done it for years. So when we made the original material, he was just a teenager, like starting out. So he was learning as he went along. And I'm not even sure he'd even started college then, but he might have started college and he went to music college and then worked as a sound engineer. He has years and years of experience and he's made a number of albums himself. So I think there's an element of this one, you could say, is maybe a bit poppier. I think maybe the idea is to make things a certain level of accessibility, but there is a lo-fi-ness to it, but it's like a hi-fi lo-fi. So we did lots of stuff where we really processed sounds over and over again and did lots to them. But at the end of the day, Andy also mixed and mastered the whole album because he's good at that. And that means we don't necessarily have to, at this moment in time, work with another producer or someone else to do that because Andy can do that and he's put a lot of time into it and done a really, really good job with it. So it's more like hi-fi, lo-fi. And I think the element of whether people, I mean, it's called people prefer the earlier stuff or like the new stuff. We want to offer something different. I don't think you can repeat the same thing. And it's harder for us to maybe make something so naive and lo-fi again. So we've just gone for like trying to make it a bit like how we did back then, similar elements, but we have to incorporate who we are now and what we've learned along the way. And a lot of that is, like you say, something that's a bit more chiseled out, more like I'm more like make a tune, put some stuff down, just lay down loads of audio, don't necessarily think about the frequencies and how it's going to mix. And Andy's much more got a bit of technical side to what he knows about, so he'll carve out frequencies, get everything mixed together, listen to it on high-end monitors and try and make something that translates well across different sound systems and stuff, really. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one, but how people react to it. Yeah, I think it's good. I've listened to it loads, so I haven't got an opinion anymore as much, really, because I've listened to it so much. now. So wait and see. It needs to be released out into the wild.
Is there a
There's
release
certain
date
things as well
set
that
yet?
can't be replicated.
Sorry, Sean.
I'm gonna say there's certain things that can't be replicated as well. Like the rot was never an intention. It was a it was it just happened. It wasn't our intention for it to be there, so we couldn't replicate that sort of thing again, even if we wanted to, really.
Yeah,
And it
you
would,
could try it, but see what happens with it. And I'm certainly interested in making music like that at some point. But I think it might be worth making things that have got a little bit of weirdness to them, but there's still a bit of pop music to them. And I think we tried doing that originally. It was like try and do like left field kind of music, but with some kind of accessibility in it. And to answer your question, John, the album is out on May the 5th. May the 5th? Is it really out on May the 5th? But not May the 4th, because that's like an important day, if you like.
Sorry for interrupting you, Sean.
no, not at all.
No,
No,
you
go
didn't
for it.
interrupt. That's just talking over video, isn't it? That happens all the
Yeah,
time.
that's
Um,
everybody butts in.
May the 5th. May the 5th. Is that an important day for other things? What's that date? No.
You know.
I think
Star
May the
maybe.
5th is a pretty solid date.
Yeah, that's all right then, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. So that's when it'll come out just before we come out to US again.
Sweet.
So
So are you
we
guys
might be on.
touring for the US with the new album? Is that the plan?
We're going to try and get some of the songs on it, and some of the songs we're playing live now are the ones we've done for the new album, right? So we've finished old songs off, and they're on the new album. So we've been playing some of them already, and we're probably going to add like 2 or 3 to the set or something. See what we can do. But we get quite busy, really, don't we? Like organizing things.
So I have one
Yeah.
final question for you guys. What is Panchiko's biggest inspiration when listening to music across all genres, across all platforms of music? What's the biggest inspiration? It can be personalized, it can be for the band as a whole.
I want to know what your inspiration is. You're inspirational, Sean. What's your inspiration?
My inspiration. Oh fuck. I don't. That's too big a question. My inspiration is rather than it being another musician, which there's too many of to try and actually narrow it down to what would inspire me. My inspiration is more trying to do my best for the fans. That's my inspiration. That's what inspires me. Trying to do my best for the fans because yeah, I'm flailing my way through being a musician. Yeah, just keep striving to do better. From a music point of view, well, yeah, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of people who I love and who I find amazing and talented and would love to be like. But yeah, my main motivation is just trying to do the best I can do, I think. What about you, Owen?
Well, you gave me time to think of something, Sean, whilst I asked you.
Yeah, just padding. Yeah.
Biggest inspiration. I don't know. I don't know. There's something like a melancholy bittersweetness to things that like I write songs and they have meaning, but they're kind of like the lyrics are quite open to interpretation. So I always like to think there's something about like I like music that makes me a bit sad, but I feel happy because I heard the sadness and I know that other people go through the sadness. Maybe it's a little bit of that. And I don't know, like inspiration, combining worlds a little bit. I like combining like electronics and beats with songwriting. It's nothing new, like people have done it for ages, but it's like crossing those two worlds a bit. Even though the live shows are a bit more rock, which I'm happy with. I think we're a bit different live. But yeah, it's about that sort of bittersweet feeling. Like, no, I'm so sad something happened, but I'm so happy it happened, and I'm so happy I felt it. Yes, I had a feeling. I'm a human being. Everything's all right. Oh, and anime, sci-fi, and fantastical worlds, video games, stuff of the imagination. You know,
What's your favorite
worlds.
anime?
What's my favorite anime?
Yeah, you got to
There's
have a
loads.
top one.
Well, you know, top one that I think is always good is Cowboy Bebop, because that's been around for a very long time and it stood the test of time.
I was gonna say, if you want to talk about timeless.
Hmm. And like ones I like ones from Bubble era a little bit. So films like Akira. There's a film called Wings of Honemies, which is a really cool. It's like it's the first Gainax project who made Evangelion, but they made a feature film in like 1987, 1988 as their first project, and it's beautiful. It's like a Ghibli film. It's on the same like quality of a Ghibli film, but it's kind of like not that many people know it, but it's an absolute classic. And it has a soundtrack by Ryuichi Sakamoto. It's amazing. Like, it's about this royal space force. It's like an imaginary space race in an alternative thing. And then Ghibli, like, and personally for me, Laputa I was lucky enough to see when I was about like, I don't know, 6 or 8 years old, when you couldn't, because believe it or not, it was a time when there's the internet around and nobody watched Ghibli films in the West. Hardly anybody watched them because they were like a secret, you know. And I think for me, Laputa, Nausicaa, and Princess Mononoke, they're my kind of Ghibli films. I really like them. I think they're good. They're good. Yeah. There's so many things I've watched, like, so I don't know, they come off the top of my head. And Last Exile, that was done in the early 2000s. That's pretty good. Like that one. I'll watch that one again from time to time.
So, are there any final words from Panchiko?
I guess we're like, I'm a bit subdued today. Like, thank you to everyone who listens to us, and I'm so happy that people like get something from listening to our music. And when anybody says your music helped me through something, that's really like amazing, and I blows my mind, because I think I don't know how that works, but it's amazing because I know that music saved me many a time. Music's always been there for me, so it's amazing that I can do that myself through our music, for other folks, which is really brilliant. And thanks to everyone who supports and everybody who gets something from listening to our music. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, generally that's it, isn't it? Just huge thank you to everybody who listens and everybody who's made all these things possible for us to do. So yeah, that's it.
All right, sweet. My name's John Mosher. This was Panchiko. You guys are listening to Mosher's Records, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you guys for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you, and thank you guys all for watching.
She doesn't feel like she owes me. She doesn't feel your dynamic. She just watches the TV. And slowly it starts to bore me. It's all he ever wanted to feel like she wanted. And it's all she's ever needed to feel like she's needed. The girl with the fuckery eyes, the girl who has to lie. Feelings and they wanna die. When it's all over, she cries. It's all she ever wanted to feel like she's wanted. And it's all she's ever needed to feel like she's needed.